Hey, welcome to the Breakthrough to Excellence podcast. This is your host, Jasmine Haley.
Welcome
and we have
to the
a
Breakthrough
special
to Excellence
episode that
podcast.
I recorded sometime in
Jasmine
2019.
Haley, healthcare provider turned educator,
I'm not even
entrepreneur,
sure
and startup
at
strategist.
that point, but
Not too long ago, I was burnt out, overwhelmed, depressed, and full of fear from a toxic work environment. I created my business out of necessity to create a legacy I can be proud of today. It helps me transform the lives of women every single day to pursue their dreams and entrepreneurial goals.
This conversation
I created this
is so very
podcast to
important
share the
for us,
empowering
especially
stories
as
of
women.
entrepreneurial
Yes,
women,
I'm a very
help
accomplished
you
woman.
break
I've
through
done a lot
self-doubt
in
to your
my
greatness,
personal
and
and
share business
professional
strategies
life.
to help
But one
you
of my
create a
struggles
thriving
have
and
been weight
profitable
loss
business.
and
If you are an emerging
understanding,
entrepreneur
how to
or
kind of
business owner
navigate
that wants to create the
handling
mindset
my
needed to
secular
escape
work,
burnout,
my business,
reclaim your personal
handle
power,
me
and pursue your
building my
entrepreneurial dreams,
relationship with my
this
husband,
podcast
with
is
my
for you.
children.
Stay tuned and
And
listen in.
I believe, let me see, when I started our mastermind group, I was probably still working on my graduate degree. I don't know. It was a lot going on for me. And it was really hard for me to figure out how to handle also taking care of my health. And so we share what we love. Of course, we share the struggles, and we also share the importance of us loving ourselves within the skin that we're in, but most importantly, having those non-scale victories, like really appreciating that and looking at wellness and health in a different view. So as an entrepreneur, especially when you are used to being active, going back and forth, and walking around most of the time, if you're an online business owner, you're at home in front of a computer getting work done. I have a standing desk to help. So we talk a lot about really important stuff, and this is a fundamental piece in the success of your business as well. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Make sure you join our free Facebook group, Breakthrough to Excellence from 9 to 5 to CEO. And if you have any thoughts about this, I would love to know. Feel free to message me on social media at It's Jasmine Haley, or you can even email me at btpevents@beyondtheprophy.com. All right, enjoy the episode.
Hey, this is Jasmine, your host, and I am excited to welcome our guest here, McKenna Montcalm. Oh, that was terrible.
You're not the first. Montcalm.
I almost said Montclair. I'm like, what in the world am I doing here?
Oh, yeah. I've heard that before. Do you see why I go by Kenna? Just
yes. Well, I'm so very grateful that you have decided to come on my podcast. You weren't scared because I'm in dentistry. You actually, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. What listeners don't know is that we were part of a mastermind group with the Jessica Rodriguez. For 6 months, it actually just ended, and her impact in my life has certainly been transformational, and I'm sure it's been the same for you. So Jessica surrounds herself with rock star women, and McKenna is definitely one of them, or Kenna. She's a certified personal trainer, fitness professional, nutrition coach. We all need that, who over the last 10 years has helped thousands of women break through what's holding them back so they can start living their best lives. Yes.
An amen.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So I actually just started back working out. It's been 2 months.
Yes, I saw that. I loved it.
Yeah. It's been 2 months of me I started with Pilates. I love Pilates. Everything about it, kind of like centering, clearing my mind, focusing on my breathing, building strength. I mean, I couldn't even do a plank. I was like, I couldn't even bridge.
Crazy story, I used to be a Pilates instructor. I was a reformer Pilates instructor for, close to 7 years, I want to say. Shout out to Pilates. It was so much fun.
Wow.
It was so funny because people were like, you don't seem like the average Pilates instructor. Because I'm like, woohoo! Let's do Pilates. But it's such a good accessory work. And like what you were saying, it's so good to kind of ease your way back into things. So I love that.
Yeah. I've been consistently going for 5 days, 5 to 6 days a week. And I love it. I've seen the strength that I've had. Like I can do a plank, I can do bridges, I can just move in ways I didn't even know I could. And so now it was my first day that I actually started Orange Theory. And
so many good things about them.
It is, oh my gosh, my legs are like done.
so many good things. So good for you.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. And one of the things that it's really important for me, I'm trying to show my girls. I know that you're a mom as well, how important it is to put yourself first. And I go early in the morning, try to get that out. But there was a huge mindset that I had to overcome. Everything for me has been about weight loss, and not really, how am I feeling? Do I feel strong? Am I building like these non-scale victories happening?
I mean, I guess you could say I've got like the credential. I went to school with this. I've got a bachelor's of science in health fitness. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. By now I've worked at big gyms, small gyms. I've worked for myself, and beyond all of that is that even I'm not immune to that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so after the birth of my daughter, she's 3, even I felt that same pressure. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. After I had my daughter, I thought I was going to bounce back because that's what I was told would probably happen, and it didn't happen for me. And so with the mindset of weight loss, I started to go back into those old dieting BS things. And I'm like, wait a second, even though she was an infant, I'm like, wait a second, what I do, she is going to learn. And I did not want her to learn that. And in fact, I just had a post about this yesterday. It's kind of mind-boggling to me that we as women, when we find out we're pregnant, we take such good care of our bodies. But then when they're out, it's like back to the old ways, back to the punishment, back to the restrictions,
Ooh, that's powerful.
That's what it was. That was my aha moment. Beyond all of like I've done, girl, we could talk about diets for days. I've done all of them. And that was the aha moment for me, is that like I deserve to take care of myself because she deserves to have a mom who can show her how.
Yes.
And that is everything.
Yeah. Like for me, I love that. I mean, it resonates so much with me because I was used to certain language being used in my household that were negative towards the woman's body. Right. Mm-hmm. And even when I was like a size 4, a size 2, I was like, look at this and look at this. And then like, look at me now, I'm over 200 pounds and I've got all of this extra loving. Right. And so I've just been really mindful on how I speak, even in front of my kids.
Yes. And I love that. I love that you do that because it's so sad to me to see women and daughters that don't. And I was similar. I remember growing up. I actually remember there's a university near my school. I think for me, body image, I think it was second grade. Second grade, the college, the local like health students from the college went and did like kind of like fake like health tests or like, I don't want to say fake, but like practice health tests for us. And they weighed us. And even in second grade, I remember thinking like I think it said 98 pounds. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm so fat. Second grade. And like, I think we can all agree that our parents did the best that they could because like, that's what we've all been taught. And so that's what we teach. But I look back at that now and I'm like, oh my gosh, if my daughter in second grade was having those thoughts, like that's not okay. And so that's why it's not okay for me to do that today, and why I do focus on different things. Like, how do you feel? How is your energy? Like, are you able to do all the things that you want to do? Like, that's the important stuff. And then the weight loss, it just comes. It's easy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my girls have a lot of my husband's genes, so they're very slim. They're very tall. They're very athletic. It's like they don't have to work to get a 6-pack. Mm-hmm. And I'm very aware too that when they go to school, it's not the same, where the language that we use. I've heard my youngest one mention that someone had said someone else was fat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like that mean girl stuff starts even in elementary school. And so it just takes a lot of conscious effort for us as women to really redirect that narrative that we've been plagued with, because the whole entire society is all about, are your boobs sitting up to your chin? Mm-hmm. Is your butt looking like 2 watermelons? I mean,
it's got to be small and snatched.
Yes. Like, just take out 3 or 4 ribs and then like tie it all tight. I'm like, what in the world? Nobody's body's looking like that. So, I mean, it's something, it's definitely something that we need to talk more about and be okay with really using that language. So for me, I know the weight loss will come.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
again, I'm focusing, like I was telling you, I couldn't even plank 2 months ago. I'm able to plank. I'm able to do so much. I'm picking up heavier weights. I survived Orange Theory because I've been doing Pilates. Like Pilates has helped me build that endurance
Oh, I love that.
that I
And
didn't
like,
have before.
the thing is, how does that make you feel for the rest of the day with everything else that you do?
Amazing.
Amazing, right? Like
Yeah.
there's that little bit of hump. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There's a hump when you first start exercising again, where it's like, ugh. And I know it because again, I felt it myself. I mean, I think a lot of times we hear personal trainer and we like put that person on a pedestal, and it's like, no. I want you guys to know that I am real too. And you know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been times when I've had to like restart exercise and it's like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But then you get over that hump and you're like, oh, I see why people do this now. I see why this is a thing, because being able to do that 2-minute plank makes me feel like a badass, and I can take that into the business and into my daily activities, and I can carry all my grocery bags in one trip because girl's been lifting weights, and like I love how all of that translates. And one thing I wish every woman knew is that it starts with us, especially moms. It always starts with us. You can tell your kids a certain thing, but they always watch and they're always learning and they're always listening. I know because my child knows some 4-letter words that she shouldn't at 3. I'm like, oh, okay. But you can't think, okay, I'm going to change this for my daughter. And then if she offers you something, go, oh, mommy can't have that because mommy's on a diet. Or to be standing there in front of the mirror, pinching and squeezing and going, ooh, because she sees that. She'll do. Or if you talk negatively about other women, like you mentioned that girl that called someone else fat, she's heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's like, okay, yes, we love our children. We want the best for them. We want to change the world for them. And it starts with us.
Yeah. So let's just dive in a little quick before we head over to the next segment of just talking about mental health and exercise. Because for me, one of the big catalysts of me wanting to like change is the fact that I wanted to get off of antidepressants and I needed to get moving before I actually wean completely off.
Right.
And so I feel like my anxiety has been more manageable because I'm exercising seriously almost every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I think that, as women, we're always taking care of someone.
Yeah.
Always, right?
Yeah. Even right now.
Yeah. Where like, if it's not a pet, if it's not one of your fur babies, if it's not your children, if it's not your spouse, if it's not, some other relative, we're always seeking to be like nurturers, to care. Yeah. And we don't give that same grace and love to ourselves, which makes us burnt out, which is why I focus so much on that topic, is feeling overwhelmed. And so I just want to dive in a little bit and just kind of get your thoughts about the mental health segment also and exercise for women.
Absolutely. The first thing that I want you to know is that I don't think that there is any stigma around women who decide to get help and get on medication. Like, absolutely be your own advocate, ask for help, like first and foremost, because I know we're going to talk about this, but I've got my own burnout story, and I think it was related to depression that I didn't want to label as depression. That being said, it's just like Elle Woods, Legally Blonde. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people don't kill their husbands. Like that it boils down to. And also a big myth around this, I feel like, is that so many women, like, we go hard or go home. So we will want to, like, I know you mentioned you started off just kind of moving your body, which is so amazing, but a lot of women don't. And they go from not exercising for years, I mean, having babies and operations and careers and all this kind of stuff, to suddenly immersing themselves in intense exercise 7 days a week. That makes that hump that we talked about, kind of getting back into exercise, so much bigger. And
Yes.
it's sustainable. And I want, and I wish women would realize that you can have and get benefits with your mental health and with anxiety and depression just by going for a walk. It doesn't have to be this crazy, super intense thing. If you thrive on that, like you, Jasmine, are doing right now, get it, girl. But like, it doesn't have to be like that, even just the smallest movements. And that's part of what got me out of my own burnout.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit of what that was. Like, how did you recognize the signs that you were in burnout?
Yeah. So this was, let me set the scene. This was back in 2013. My husband was in the Army, so we were stationed at Fort Carson in Colorado Springs. I had just transferred from, are you familiar with Lifetime Fitness?
No.
There's some places.
I know Lifetime Channel.
Yeah, it's different. Anyway. I prefer Lifetime Channel. No. So we had just moved from Georgia to Colorado, and I loved where I was working in Georgia. I had the most amazing team and mentors and leaders. It was so amazing. And then I transferred out to the location in Colorado Springs. And then my husband gets orders to deploy. And I count myself lucky because we didn't have children then. And so, but it was just me. And so he gets deployed for 9 months. We have no family. I had just made a friend, thank God, that helped get me through this. But then on top of everything going on in my personal life, I hated my job. I hated it so bad. And girl, I tried. I tried so hard. And it was just one of those things, the people that have gone through it, you will know, where you wake up and you think about going to work and you start crying. And you get ready, you put the face on, you get ready, and you go to work and you dread the drive and you sit in the parked car until the minute before your shift starts. And you walk in and you grit your teeth and you get through it. And then you go home and you cry even more because you're thinking about going to your job the next day. And that's where it all started for me. And what was crazy is that I started to kind of live a lie, in the sense that I hated my job so much that I started to hate exercise because I was working as a personal trainer. I started to hate healthy eating because, again, I was like working as a personal trainer. I hated what I did, not my clients, but just where I was so much that translated completely. And I totally lost myself because I had always been the health girl. I have always loved nutrition. I always loved eating right. I always loved activity, exercise, movement, the weight room, all of it. I loved all of it. And suddenly I found that I had absolutely no motivation. I didn't want to be there a minute longer than what I needed to be. And I went from this energetic, healthy woman to this woman that just sat on the couch all night long. So my husband wasn't home. He was deployed. And I would make like popcorn and a glass of wine for myself for dinner. Like, I stopped making foods that I liked.
Wow.
I would drive through all the time. I never exercised. And meanwhile, like I said, I was kind of living a double life, because here I was like destroying myself physically and mentally at home, while putting on that uniform and that smile, telling people how to be healthy, showing people how to exercise, all of that. And it was not fun. And it was one of those things that I didn't know it at the time, but now that I look back on it, I think I was depressed for sure. But for me, like going through it, I wouldn't have admitted that to myself.
Yeah.
And so it was crazy. But one of my favorite sayings is that you have to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough. And so for me, I used all of that as a lesson, which I'm so thankful for, because it could have just kept on spiraling downward. And so during this time, this was all while my husband was deployed. He was gone for 9 months. So it was just like 9 months of like crap. and I sugarcoat it. And I had tried so many things. Like I had tried going back on diets that I had done before. And it was like no motivation, no will to do anything. I would feel guilty and start the pattern all over again. And then I would be one of those women that would be like, okay, well, I haven't exercised in 3 months, but this week is going to be the week that changes. And I would dive in hardcore 7 days a week. And that wore out quickly too, because I just didn't have it. I didn't have it within me to get there. And it seemed like at the time, it was like everything that should have motivated me didn't. So this is when like Pinterest boards were hot with like their inspiration, you know, like a photo of a 6-pack abs with like motivational quotes on it.
Yeah.
Like, that'll motivate me. And it didn't. Mm-hmm. And then Instagram, I think, was fairly new, and like fitness influencers. I'm like, oh man, I got to be like that girl. And I always fell short. And so the thing
that's got to mess you up here.
Oh, I think it dove me even deeper, which is why, like,
that comparison. Ooh.
Oh, it's bad. No matter what you do, right? Mm-hmm. If you're comparing yourself in business, in the workplace, in life, like it was so bad. And again, all of this with this big looming cloud of I should know better.
Yep.
Because I'm a health professional. I should know better. So it was like all of that combined with so much self-guilt. Ooh, I'm getting chills right now just like thinking of where I was mentally.
Yeah.
The good news is it changed. And it changed because I have 2 dogs. And one day I was like, you know what? I feel really bad. I literally would go to work for 9 hours, come back and sit around all day, repeat. Like that was my life. And I was like, I feel so bad for these dogs. And so I just asked them, do you want to go for a walk? And right, you know what happens. Any dog owners, you know what happens. The best accountability buddies are dogs. And using that phrase. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm going to walk around the block with you guys. So I did. 1 week, 1 walk around 1 block. I was like, okay, I did that. That was a small win. I feel good about that. Next week, I'm going to do the same thing for just 1 day, except I think I'm going to go 2 blocks this time. And that pattern just slowly started increasing for me, where it's like, okay, now I'll go for a mile. Now I'll walk 2 days. Now I'll walk 3 days. And just being able to kind of get that momentum back and having those wins, as opposed to, even if they were so small, I mean, again, 1 block around, and then we were back home. That's what changed it for me. So instead of the guilt of, oh, I should do this, I need to do that, I used to be able to do this, that mental hellhole, I went with, okay, this is 1 small goal. I can accomplish it, and I'm going to feel good about it. And I'm so thankful for those dogs. And honestly, I'm thankful for the experience, because I do believe that if it's something that you learn something from, that can be very powerful in your life. And so I look back on it and it sucked, but I'm so thankful for it too.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a powerful decision that you made. And it made me think about a book that I'm reading right now called Leverage Your Universe, and how you need to take small steps. And those small steps will lead to your larger dreams and goals. But the most important thing is, when you're not sure what to do, or if you're feeling, in that thinking of defeat, you have to start where you are. And you have to embrace the current circumstances that you do have.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I heard as you were speaking.
Yeah.
You couldn't change the fact that your husband was deployed.
Right.
And you went through the funk, which I think it's important for us to go through the funk. We need to go through the funk. Don't try to change it. It's functified up in there. Let it be functified. Give yourself some grace. It's okay. But eventually you have to move forward, and you have to start small. And that's what I did. I I did like a kickboxing class and I wasn't really feeling it. You know, I liked the rap music as I was punching the bag because I was thinking about some people that really needed to get it. And then I was like, I'm done because it's too much stress. I wanted to ease my way in because I know me.
Good. You wanted to
yes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel like I was dying every time that I was there. Like, I don't like that feeling.
Right.
So I think that was powerful. You start where you are. And so having that comparison is a normal thing. We tend to do that, but sometimes we need to shut that social media off.
Oh, totally.
We need to not listen to what anybody else's decisions are or what they think will work for you, and really listen to the person within.
And for me, it was those things, but it also was that voice in my head that I know so many other women hear that say, I used to be able to do this. I should be able to do this. Like that voice that you hear is not the woman that you are. The woman that you are is the one that says, for me, it was the one that said, maybe you can just go for a walk. And that's, it's quieting one voice, so many voices in our heads. It's being able to identify, like, no, those are BS thoughts. This is what I'm going to do instead to feel good and accomplish something and feel good about that accomplishment.
I think too, as you're explaining that, I think for me is also coming to the realization that my body has birthed 2 human beings, and it's never going to be 17-year-old Jasmine. You know, I have housed 2 humans. I have gone through so much to produce life. And I have to accept where it is. There's beauty in what's in it now. So even with the stretch marks, even with the booty that jiggles. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like, I mean, my booty's not jiggling as much as it was before because the Pilates has helped tighten it up a little bit. I'm trying to pop a coin on there, like, boop. Okay. So, just accepting that. And again, that goes back to accepting where you are currently, personally, professionally, whatever.
And one thing that I loved that helped me with my mindset with body image, because I struggled with that after pregnancy. I had a C-section, and the doctor was amazing, but she was no plastic surgeon, and I still have a C-section flap. Like it is what it is. I used to have a somewhat slim tummy. It's not that way anymore. And I struggled with that. And one thing that helped me, and in fact, I was just talking to a friend about this, when you have negative thoughts about your body, first off is the awareness of those thoughts. And second is redirecting them. So after that C-section and when I was trying to get my groove back again.
I love that. I love that you said that.
Again, yeah, not the first time. Whenever I would have a negative thought about my body, I would find 5 things that were awesome about it. So it's like, oh man, your stomach, girl. That it's like, well, you know what? It made a healthy baby. My arms look great today. I love my butt. Like, and you just like, my teeth look great. Oh, my eyes, my dark circles aren't that dark today. Like, that's great. You know, and you just like, even as small as it sounds, you just find 5 things that you love about yourself, and slowly that starts to change.
That's a good point. One of mine is, can I drop it down low and pick it back up? And if I could do that, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, I love that.
I'm silly, but yeah, it is true. I do try to drop it like it's hot at home. All right. Yeah. Of course. I mean, that's those are my wins. Those are my wins. And that works for me. And I would love listeners to let us know, like, what are your wins? Like, what are some of the things that you would say that when you look at yourself, or if you're looking at non-scalable wins, like what are yours? I would love to know. I think that's an awesome thing. Yes, let us know. All right, last question for you. Well, actually, I have 2 more. What in the world is a luxury gym?
A luxury
like
gym
gold baths
It is like an alternate universe where
I'm like, okay.
so some of your listeners may be familiar with it. So like a luxury gym is like a brand like Lifetime Fitness, where it is a gym, but it has all the amenities. You pay a price for it. So it is a gym that not only has the top of the line gym equipment that's kept really clean, it has 3 to 4 group fitness rooms. It has like the reformer Pilates with all the equipment in it. It has a cafe. It has amazing childcare, like a huge, like a McDonald's play place within the childcare, but that's like way cleaner.
Yeah.
An Olympic pool, couple saunas, couple hot tubs. Did I mention cafe? I love food. So there's a cafe in there. A salon, like to get your hair done. Yeah. And spa. And you can use, like, from a user experience, it was amazing because I could go in there and drop my kid off at childcare and then go and get my hair done and get an hour-long massage. And so it was literally a place, like if you live near Lifetime Fitness, no hard feelings to them. Like if you live near one and you want all of that, I highly encourage that you check it out because it's an amazing place to bring your whole family, and the kids can go do kids activities and camps. Husband can go, I don't know, sit in the cafe. You can get your weightlifting on, get your hair done afterwards, you know. So that's, and like everything was like granite tops, real wood locker rooms, like not your average meathead gym. That's
I see. So what kind of, so now what are you doing now that you're a mom, and what kind of, how have you kind of like transformed in the work that you're doing with helping people get healthy?
Totally. So when I became a mom, I knew, so my husband was still in the military at that time, and it just didn't make sense for me to be working full time, and I didn't really want to. But I also didn't really identify with the thought of being like a stay-at-home mom. And I don't want to say just a stay-at-home mom because stay-at-home moms are amazing.
Yes.
And I wanted to be able to keep doing the work that I do because like I was put on this earth to do this. And so, but I knew that it had to change because after the birth of my daughter, my personal experience had changed. And it wasn't about doing like counting calories or doing Weight Watchers or going keto or, you know, doing the tea tummy or whatever. It wasn't about that for me. Also, it wasn't really about the weight loss for me either. I had a daughter that I needed to take care of, and I wanted to feel better while I was doing that. And if the weight came off, sweet. But I was mostly concerned with how do I keep up with her? Because she's been a pistol since day one. So,
yeah, strong woman.
Yes. So I started to work from home. I started to continue my relationship with clients that I had worked with in person at the gym, but my approach became different. I wasn't promoting those fad diets that I had tried and that I even myself had failed at anymore. I hadn't been lecturing on how to fit hour-long workouts 7 days a week into your schedule if it wasn't reasonable for you, because when I had a newborn, that just wasn't going to fit. It just wasn't. And so it kind of took me off my high horse, but like in the best way possible. And it's completely changed the work that I do. And it's magical now. So now I work with women focusing more, I call it body-based. So like body-based nutrition. Mm-hmm. How can you feel good? I think so many women start with exercise, which is so good, but if you're not fueling your body right, chances are that exercise, it's just not going to feel good. It's just, I mean, that's just the point of it. And so I focus on the metabolism and your body because you can never out-diet your body. You can never out-diet your metabolism. It always wins. And once we start focusing on that and what your food is or what your body is telling you from the food that you're eating, it changes everything, like absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, yeah, we got to continue this conversation for another episode, because I think that's a deep one. I don't even know what to say or how to answer that. Even myself, as I'm thinking, like, they teach us nutritional counseling in dentistry
Cool.
to prevent cavities,
Yeah.
right? But never to the extent of considering what's good for our body. And I
Right.
love that you do that, because
Yeah, thank you.
everything is not going to work for everyone the same.
No.
Like, my
Yeah.
husband's shape and his body is an athletic build and slim
Yep.
by nature.
Yep.
So he's been eating kale salad all this week and he lost 5 pounds. I'm like, well, good for you.
Well, first off, my people know this. Kale is no good. Kale, it's one of my things. Oh, kale
it tastes so good. It tastes so good.
If you have kale recipes, send them to me, because I've tried all of them and I still hate it.
What? Oh my goodness. He had a kale and quinoa salad with apples and like cranberries, and it was so good.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Guess where it came from, which is not where you're not supposed to go, really. Wawa.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He brought it home. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So here's your last question. What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, this isn't it, but I've been told when you ask a good question, people will tell you that's a good question. So, like, that's an automatic response. So that's not the best advice. The best advice I've ever been given. Do you really want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. It was from my dad, which, love you, Dad. He doesn't listen to podcasts anyways, but my dad was drafted in the Vietnam War, and he went to boot camp in California. And right before he shipped out, he went from Michigan to California, which, like, culture shock, and then straight from California to Vietnam. And before he left, his drill instructor said to the platoon, "Don't forget, bullshit the man and play the game." I know. Like, I don't even know if I can say that on your podcast, but like, that is the one that has like stuck with me for whatever reason.
So what does it mean? Like, I'm still trying to, okay, like, what specifically does that mean?
And play the game. So it's like, do what you need to do to get it done, but like also for yourself. Like, that's what I took it as. Like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but you get through it. Kind of like my experience with getting through that low. I had to do what I had to do. I had to go through those things. Mm-hmm. I had to go through that depression. I had to go through trying those diets. I had to go through it. The man, play the game, and then learn something from it. I added that in. That was just came to my mind. I don't know why.
All right. Well, I take it. Thank you so much. I will be bleeping it out, but they'll get it. They'll get the point. They'll get it. Okay. They won't lose the concept.
I'm just like, wait, that was literally the only thing that popped in my head.
Good. That's what I want. I want exactly what it is that you're thinking. Okay. That's the best. Not when we think about it too much, but like right at the very top of our head.
Yep. That was it.
All right. Tell the listeners where they can find you.
You can find me at kennafit.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/kennafit, KENNA, or I love Instagram stories. You guys can check me out on Instagram. I am It's Kennafit. If you just search Kennafit, it's going to be booty pics. It's not me. So, you'll know. You'll know. So catch me on Instagram at It's Kennafit.
All right. Awesome. You were an awesome guest. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Dive in deeper by visiting the show notes for this episode or listening to more episodes on JasmineHaley.com. If you found value in the show, share with a friend or leave us a review. I'll see you next time.